Hello? Karen Lemon, are you in the room? Karen Lemon, are you here? Do you need a mic for door prizes? I think you do. It's right here, right here. I'll bring it. Chris has it. She's coming. No. It does.
Check 1, 2, 3. Check 1, 2, 3. Check 1, 2, 3. This is just a test. Check 1, 2, 3. We're just about to start the banquet, perhaps shortly.
Convention of the National Federation of the Blind of Nebraska is in order. Okay, I hope everyone is finding a seat. It's smelling really good in here. We are going to begin. Okay, gotcha. I want to thank Linda Menting for the beautiful music that led up to this banquet. Thank you very much. I hope everybody got their duckies. Yeah. Oh, we ran out. Well, we'll find out if anybody shares or not, but that's up to you. Okay, but they are sold out. Okay. All right. If I could have your attention. I'm patient. But I will remind you that come what may, we have to be out of here by 11 p.m. So the longer we take, the shorter the end will be. Okay. I would like to invite to the podium for our invocation the Secretary of the National Federation of the Blind of Nebraska, at least for a little while, Kimberly Sherbarth from Kearney.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful day that you've given to us. And thank you for providing us with a great venue and great servers, and we've had great meals. Thank you for the opportunity for new people to come and experience the Federation family, for them to have an opportunity to know that there is a place where they can go to know that wherever they are, they're fine, and if they need something, we're here for them. Lord, just be with us throughout this evening, be with the presenters, and we thank you for everything that you do for us, and let us give back to everyone else that has given so much. You know, we want to make sure we share what we've been given. Amen.
Amen and amen, door cries. All right, go. Are you ready? Are you ready? Ready? Amen. Excuse me. Even it doesn't sound like it. All right, maybe we need to draw again. Draw in. Hang on, should I dance in between the? It's all right with me. Yeah, well, you can't see either. We'll want audio description for time for each. Next name is Tara Limness. She said it wasn't great. Well, we'll take her word for it. Okay, I'm now going to introduce most of the head table. Attention, please. All right. Okay, at our head table tonight, and we're going from my left to my right. So whatever roundness you're in, I don't know what direction it'll be for you, so I'm gonna skip that. To the leftmost end of the table is the woman you just heard from, Kimberly Sherbarth, currently secretary. And next to Kimberly is Lucas McClellan, the first man of the NFB of Oregon. I'll skip the next person for a moment. My name is Barbara Lose. I'm your MC. Next to me is my husband, Brad Lose. Next to Brad is the president of the National Federation of the Blind of Nebraska, Jamie Ritchie. Next to her is the first man, Jeremy Ritchie. Next to Jeremy is the first vice president and the fine convention arrangements person for this convention, Christine Boone. And next to her is the second man, I guess you'd call it. Jack Boone. And that is your head table for this evening. I'll let you talk now for a little while. There.
I didn't realize. I didn't know the bell down.
Hello, hello. I'd like for all of us to give a big round of applause to the hotel servers for giving. Thank you so much. This has been a wonderful place to meet and eat. And we appreciate you all. So thank you very much. When Brad and I bought our lucky duckies this evening, and I commented that one of them was in a snack bag, and one of them was in a sandwich bag, and so they didn't have the same size pond. Brad said, well, he thought it was appropriate for them to be in a sandwich bag. So, yeah. I thought of them swimming happily. He thought of, well, something else happening to them. Anyway, it is now time for us to hear from our president, Jamie Ritchie, about how we will be playing this game now. There you go.
All right, so the first thing you gotta do is take your duckies out of their pond. And line them up on the table, make sure all your ducks are in a row. Okay, everybody got their ducks in a row? No, not yet. What's that, Jeff? Oh, we still have people. Yeah. You can play it to my picture. Hey, Tracy. How many ducks does one person have? We learned a lesson about that a while back. You can only have 6 ducks. You can make stuck in it. And you can continue to eat after we get done. It'll do good for you to stretch a little bit, make some more room for that dessert. All right, listen up. Okay, so this is how this is gonna work. Most of you have 6 ducks. There's a couple that have 2, and maybe one that has 1. But what we're gonna do is I have a coin up here, a quarter. And the person that gave it to me is probably gonna win because he probably jinxed the quarter, so we'll see. But what you're gonna do is everyone's just gonna stand up. So go ahead and do that now. Stand up. If you have ducks, if you're not participating, you don't have to stand. Put your attention again. All right, you want to hear these rules here? Okay, so I'm going to put this point, but before you do, you have to choose heads or tails. And the way you're going to do that is you're going to put your hands on your head or your hands on your. That's right. Okay. All right. Good. I'm gonna have you do this, and then we'll tell you what happens afterwards. So, you want to listen up? Okay, so pick heads or tails. So go ahead and put your hands on your head, your hands on your tail, and you can't change your mind. Yeah, pick one or the other. And we have tails. You put one of your dummies in the paper pond. You each should have a paper pond in the center of your table. Okay, so did somebody say they don't have a paper pond? Oh, well, you can put a basket pond. Okay. If you don't, you can always make them, put them in the center or something, as long as they're gathered. Okay. So, we're gonna do it again. Now, the point of this game is the last person with a duck wins. So this is why it's important to choose. We do $50, I think. Yeah, I think it's $50. I forgot. I'll have to consult with our treasurer. Yeah. All right, so choose heads or tails. Hands on your head, hands on your tail. And we have tails again. We're going to choose again. Hands on your head, hands on your tail. And we got heads. Now, when you are finished with your ducks, feel free to sit down, but everyone that still has ducks should be standing. Okay? All right. Hands on your head, hands on your tail. And we have a hat. Your ducky pond is pond. Paper pond. All right. Hands on your head, hands on your tail. And we got tail. Quack. If you still have 6 ducks, quack.
No way.
Nobody? I can't hear. If you have 5 ducks, quack. If you have 4 ducks, quack. Well, luck to you. This one, and here's the other hand, here's the tail. Heads. Hands on your head, hands on your tail. Tail. Get closer. Let's do the chicken. How many have five? That's quack. How many have four dots? Three dots? Two dots? And one dot. Give them a chance. Oh, I can read that one. Just hold it.
Rick.
Freeze frame. Freeze frame. We have a tail. Oh. But the first one is my tail. You're really not having that tail. Alright, hands on your head, hands on your head. It's gonna sound different because it keeps getting stuck on the sledge, so I'm going underneath. Alright, tails. Hands on your head, hands on your tail. Hands on your head, hands on your tail. We have if you have five, clap. No fives. If you have four, clap. Ooh. If you have three, clap. If you have two, clap. If you have one, and we got that. No, I think just- How many do you have three? How many of you have two? Oh, how many have one? Oh, boy, here we go. Hands on your hips, hands on your I'm sure you guys are wondering why everyone has their hands on their toes. And we got tails again. Oh, this one's pretty good. How many people have threes? No threes.
Yeah.
How many people have two?
Oh.
Okay, how many people have one?
Wow.
So, now we need to announce your name if you have one. Who has one?
Greg. Jeremy. Barbara.
Oh, what? All right, did we go over you? Did we miss anybody? Okay, so it's Craig, Jeremy, Cody, and Barbara. Or Barbara.
Yeah, he knows the bartenders pretty well.
Yeah. You've given it enough money over the time. Oh, yeah,
Oh.
At this point, we want to know what to choose so we can, you know.
Yeah.
Find out, okay?
Yeah, Greg's cheating. Greg.
So make your choice. Don't look at each other. Make your choice.
I can't go the opposite way.
Yeah, no, not looking at each other. All right, Cody, what'd you choose?
Tails.
Okay, Craig?
Tails.
Oh. I'd like to test the hands. We'll have to flip again. So, we'll see here. Head tails. All right, heads or tails. Craig, what do you got?
Tails.
Cody?
Tails.
This might be interesting here. And it is tails, so.
I'll take that.
Okay, there you go. You can make a compromise. Okay, ready?
Don't do it, Cody.
I'm shaking it up good here. Just so I'm not feeling biased here, I'm gonna throw it over the Williams.
Oh, yeah.
Whoops. Awesome bartender, and also His wife is expecting.
For all you losers. Okay, what did she win?
It's a $25.
So are you here for the seat? Do you have her? So I assume you found her. Okay. All right, well, congratulations to both, was it Cody who won?
Yeah.
And to Gracie, I'm sorry. Okay, I would like to have everybody thank all of our exhibitors. Some of them are here at the banquet tonight, and if you were an exhibitor at the convention, say aye.
Aye.
Very good, thank you. And if you are here in person as one of our sponsors, say aye. Silence. Ooh. Yeah, guys. Well, I mean, I would say in reality, you are. So it is, thank you. We can thank those who aren't here as well. We really do appreciate sponsorship of our convention. It's part of what keeps us running. And so we really thank you all. You can look at their brief blurbs in the convention agenda. In the interest of time, I won't read through them. But we do thank them all for being here and for making this thing go. So thank you to all of you. Okay. Ooh, something happened. Did I do it? I hope not. I'm sorry, Jeremy, if I did something. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we did you do something? Something got better. No, it didn't.
It's gonna be a while before you can put it.
Well. Okay, and just for out of curiosity, how many more door prizes do we have? Three, okay. All right, that's good to know. All right, okay, the time has come for, oh, it's still happening. Okay. All right, are we? I'd rather have me have difficulty than our speaker, so if you can do whatever you need to do, please. I think we need to just figure it out. Okay, are we? I think it has improved. I'll talk for a little bit, and if it's still doing that, then we'll. Okay, you know me in jokes, I don't ever remember them. I have no idea. It is. I think that one was the 2 peanuts went into a bar and one was assaulted. I think that's. So, yeah, you're right, it is bad. That's why I don't go. Okay, this is my favorite part of the banquet. And the person I'm going to be introducing is someone I've known for a long time. And we talk about our Federation family, and it really is. Years ago, when we were a lot younger, we were working on finding ways to do childcare in our organization. A bunch of us started having kids at around the same time, and in the early 80s, and it was very interesting to have a lot of kids in the convention hall, and there was controversy about that. Can you believe that? The Federation having controversy? Anyway, back then, my kids, Marcia and John were, well, Marcia was born in 81 and John was born in 83. And so Carla and Lucas's kids are around the same time frame. And I remember there was a time when we were in Chicago and we were playing trivia, well, we were playing Monopoly. It was actually Chicagopoly or whatever they called it. And I believe that Duncan was about 5 then, and Marcia, my daughter, and Allison McQuillan were saying to him that they would be happy to help him with the banking part of the game. And he very confidently announced that he didn't need any help. And the thing is, he didn't. It was very cool. I've never forgotten that. It was just really cool. The other thing I remember with a lot of fondness about Allison in particular was that Carla was here in 2003 at our convention in Omaha. And Allison won a door prize there that was a night at the hotel we were staying in, the Marriott. And she gave it to Brad and me. We were engaged at the time, and we very happily used that night in January of 2004. And we've now been married for 20 years and this past December. So we still remember that night fondly, and the McQuillans are making it possible for us to do that. We have, you know, at our conventions, a lot of times our kids would do things that would be helpful. A lot of the time, some of the kids would babysit. Marcia used to do that, and John went along for entertainment for the kids. But also they worked, you know, and John really enjoyed working with Lucas and others on putting up the flags for the states. And he also worked with John Cheadle and others on the dog relief areas and things. And so this is what we mean partly too by our family. And I am really proud and happy to introduce a really cool member of our Federation family and a colleague and friend, the National Federation of the Blind of Oregon State President and member of the National Board, Carla McQuillan.
Thank you, Barbara. Yes, Allison and Marcia were really good friends and hung out all the time. Loved seeing each other at convention. That was sweet. And Duncan was a Montessori child. Of course he knew money. So when most people think of travel, they think of sunny beaches or a chalet in France or a cabin in the mountains. when you say travel to blind people, yeah, it comes up with a very, very different connotation. So the author Roman Payne, in his book, The Wanderess, said, travel comes from the old French word travail or travailler, which means to work, to labor, a suffering or painful effort, an arduous journey, a tormenting experience. And I gotta think to myself, was this guy blind? Now, sometimes travel mishaps are kind of self-inflicted. I went to the Colorado Center for the Blind in 2002. Thank you. Yes. And I went on a travel lesson one day, and Eric Woods was my instructor. And this particular day, it was just Eric, me, and Julie Deaton. Because Julie wanted to go get a cup of coffee. I was pretty new at the center. And you know, if those of you who know the Colorado Center, it's the light rail, it's walking distance to the coffee shop. So, you know, I'm under my sleep shades and I'm moving along like I know what I'm doing. We get a cup of coffee. And I leave the coffee shop and we're going down the sidewalk. And I've been there a couple of times, so I know where I'm going, right? And I've got my cane in my right hand, my coffee cup in my left hand, and I am just moving along, right? Well, all along the sidewalk on the left side, there's a sign, a street sign. And so my cane was apparently in the wrong direction and didn't realize the street sign was there. So I'm walking, it's winter, I got my big heavy coat on, but it's unbuttoned because I'm walking and I have my favorite 100% cotton white sweater. Yeah, should have seen that coming. So I'm walking along and I'm moving at a good clip. And as I'm moving, my left elbow, in which I hold my coffee, hits the post of the sign. And the coffee, because I don't stop moving when I hit the sign, right? Slams into my chest. The top pops off and a fountain of coffee covers me all over my favorite white sweater. And I'm like, I don't know, 10 paces ahead of Julie and Eric. And I made some probably pretty profane comments at that one. And Eric says, got problems, boss? Because he always called me boss. And I let him know that I just got coffee all over my sweater, and he kind of chuckled. And then we went back to the center, and I went into the restroom immediately to wash out my sweater. Yes, I spent the rest of the day in a totally cold, wet sweater because I did not want it to stain, and I knew if I did not go wash it immediately, it would stain. So I washed my sweater, I put it back on, and then it gets better. So I go in, because I don't have coffee now, and I went and bought coffee. So I go into the lunchroom and I pour myself a cup of coffee. And I walk out of the lunchroom and I'm walking down the hallway, and one of my colleagues, Angela Fowler, I don't know if you know her, she was just hysterical. And she is at the vending machine. And as usual, this was a Kevin Worley vending machine, was never stocked properly. So, no, I'm just saying, I mean, so she's at the vending machine, and apparently what she wanted was not happening. So she's got an additional stream of profanity coming out of her mouth, which she was very good at. And I go by and I say, hey, Angela. She spins around and knocks the coffee out of my hand and back on my sweater again. So I really can't blame anybody but myself for that tormenting experience. But it is what it is. But mostly our travel experiences that are not particularly pleasant are because of other people, right? There's so many of these to talk about that I have placed them into 3 different categories: planes, trains, and automobiles. Wait, sorry. Okay, so we're gonna start with planes. I do fly a lot for the National Federation of the Blind. And I was getting onto an aircraft. It was one of my NFB travels. I cannot tell you which one. And I get up to the front desk because they call my name. And the guy looks at me and he goes, well, because of your status, you really should be closer up in the aircraft. So I was going to seat you in the exit row, but then he looks at my cane and he says, so here's what we're going to do. This is a pretty full flight. He says, when you get into the aircraft, you let the flight attendant know that you'd like to be reseated. And I said, okay, dutifully. I got onto the aircraft. There was some sweet 20s flight attendant standing at the door. And I said, the gentleman outside tells me that I need to be reseated. And she says, really? Why? And I said, well, because I'm in an exit row. And she goes, well, can you handle being in an exit row? And I said, sure, I'm good with that. And she goes, well, go ahead and sit, I'm fine. And I went, okay. So I go sit in the exit row, and there was an elderly couple sitting. I was at the window seat, and there's an elderly couple sitting next to me. And I sit for a minute, and then my tormentor comes down the aisle. It was an older flight attendant who said, ma'am, I'm sorry, but you can't sit here. Now, being emboldened by the fact that I now have had somebody tell me I can, I looked at her and I said, why not? And she said, well, because you're visually impaired and we can't let you sit here. And I said, why? And she said, well, it's for safety reasons. And I said, you know what? I manage a school of over 100 children, and at any given moment, I can get the attention of over 100 3 to 6-year-old children. Now, I bet you there's nobody else in this plane who can be as helpful in a situation of emergency than I can. But let me ask you one more question. Do you allow people to drink alcoholic beverages when they sit in the exit row? Ooh, that shut her down. Mark up one for the blind lady. So another trip, I am taking my staff to a Montessori conference. And I get onto the aircraft and the flight attendant, I'm the first one on, because I'm sitting in row 1. First one on, the flight attendant literally does this spread eagle in the doorway, blocking my entrance, and says, they're supposed to tell me when people like you are getting on board. My staff are cracking up. They think this is hysterical, right? And she goes, what seat are you in? And I said, well, I'm in 1A. If you just step aside, I'd be happy to sit down. So I go and I sit down, and she comes over, get this. Well, when we land in San Francisco, there may be stairs. So I said, so what are you suggesting? That you'd like for me to get off the aircraft, or you're gonna carry me down the stairs? So I was happy to hear that I was not the only one on the plane she had offended that day. She went to one of my staff members and said, do you need a seatbelt extender? Then she comes back to me and she says, no, not to me, to my staff. And she says, so are you taking care of her? And my teachers all go, actually, she's taking care of us. And she didn't speak to me anymore that flight. She was just fine with me. And now we move to. I know you said trains, but the story works better if we go to automobiles first. So we're gonna take those out of order. We're gonna go automobiles. So I'm at the Colorado Center and I'm on a bus and I have my sleep shades on, of course. I'm on an independent travel route. And you know, you can sense somebody just staring at you. You don't have to see it, you just know. The guy next to me on the bus is clearly staring at me, and finally, you know, I turned and I said, "Hey, what's going on?" And he says, "Are you blind?" And I said, "Yes, I am." And I start to explain, which I always tried to do, what the sleep shades were for. Oh no, what's that on your face? Was the first thing he said. And so I explained what's going on, and then he says, "Well, you don't look like you're starving." To which I'm thinking to myself, are you suggesting I'm fat or that all blind people are poor and don't know how to eat? Right? I don't know. So then another time I went to the Washington State Convention, which we did frequently because it was close, right? So I've been at the convention all weekend and I'm feeling pretty good. You know how you come off of a convention like this one and you're gonna feel really good when you walk out. So I walk out the door of the hotel, I hail a cab, and the cab pulls up and he goes, "Are you blind?" I said, "Yes, and I have just been to a convention of the National Federation of the Blind of Washington, blah, 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 blah." And he goes, "Wow, you got out that door really good." Now, not to mention that I've been there for 3 days already, and finding a door to get out of the hotel was not a tough thing to do. So I let that go. I just thought, I'm going to the train station. Get it? This is why trains have to be last. I'm going to the train station. So we're driving along, and the dude goes, "Do you know Joe somebody?" And I said, "What?" And he says, "You know, Joe, blah, 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 last name, whatever it was. He's a deaf guy." I said, "No, I don't." And then he says, "Have you ever thought about speech?" Okay, I don't think he's talking about the speech on my computer. I did compete on the speech team when I was in college. I'm totally baffled and I said, "What?" He said, "You know, speech therapy. You guys should be good at that stuff." I didn't say anymore and was just hoping we get to the train station quickly. And we did. But my travel tormenting and pain did not end there. So they give me a seat assignment on the train and I go sit down. And the woman sitting immediately next to me turns to me and says, "Hi, are you a student?" Okay, let me tell you something. I'm 40 years old. I am wearing a suit with stockings and high heel shoes because I just came from my convention. There is nothing about me that says I'm a student. So I'm confused and I say no. And I explain to her what I do for a living. I run Montessori schools. I just came from this convention. And she goes, "Oh, are you married?" A little personal. I said, yes, I am. And she said, "Oh, good for you." And then she says, "Do you have children?" Now, okay, I have 2 children. One of them at the time was the most delightful 8-year-old, curious about everything, loved the world. I also had a 14-year-old daughter. And if you think I have attitude, oh yeah. Oh yeah. So what runs through my mind is the National Convention in Detroit in 2004. Allison was 11 years old. And she's in an elevator bank. I hear this from one of my dear friends. She's in an elevator bank. You know, any of you who were at the Detroit hotel, the elevators were awful. And so there's crowds of people at the end of a session waiting for an elevator. Elevator comes, it's packed full, like every national convention elevator is. And the doors start to close, and someone pushes the up button, and the doors pop open again. And everybody inside groans, and the doors start to close, and the same person pushes the button again, and they pop open, and everybody's now really angry. And my 11-year-old daughter looks at this man and says, if you would stop pushing the button, the elevator would go, and then we can get another one. Do you know who that person was? Tony Coe. For those of you who do not know, this was Dr. Jernigan's son-in-law. And I heard this story and I'm mortified. So here I'm thinking, she says, do you have children? I say yes. And she says, isn't that great? And I said, sometimes. So then she says to me, I'm trying to fall asleep, right? I'm done with this woman. I try to educate, Nancy, I hear you. I educate all the time. I love going into classrooms, but I gotta tell you, this woman wasn't learning. There was nothing I could do. I'm done with her. So I close my eyes and feign sleep. But apparently, subtlety was not something in which this woman dabbled. So she taps me on the shoulder and she says, excuse me. Yes. You are blind, right? I thought we established this earlier, but apparently. I said, yes. And she says, well, it's just that you seem so normal. There it was. There it was. You know, my husband here, Lucas, he's was retired now, speech communication instructor. And one of the things that he does in fact, I have him do this when we have teacher trainings, is about confirming and disconfirming messages. Meaning that, you know, what you say in a number of ways can either uplift the person you're speaking to or tear them down. And disconfirming messages, I love this. Disconfirming messages are only disconfirming to the extent that the recipient perceives them to be. Let me say that again, because this is important. If you don't let it get to you, it can't. You are in charge of whether or not you let those ugly comments get into your soul. So in 2016, President Riccobono came to me and asked if I would run for the national board. And I said, okay, I was on the national board from 1998 until 2006. And I stepped down from my presidency because my business was so huge and I felt like I was failing at both my business and the National Federation of the Blind of Oregon. So I stepped down, and then in 2016, President Riccobono asked if I would run for the board. And I thought, why? And he said, well, we're looking for forward-thinking people. And I thought, as I'm writing this speech, everything I have just talked to you about happened over 20 years ago, some of it 30 years ago. Forward thinking? Okay, I like to believe I am. But then I have to think, what is it that's different now that I don't have those same stories to tell? You know, journalist Benjamin Dover, his friends call him Ben, said, oh, I love it. You know what? I told that joke in New Jersey. Everybody got it right away. Sometimes people don't get it at all. So thank you for laughing at that. I appreciate that. Benjamin Dover said, it's okay to look back. It's okay to look back as long as you don't stare. Right? Like that? I like that. There's a song by Dawes, which is a group that we like very much, that says, the only point in charts and maps, the only point in looking back is to see how far we've come. So I think we've come a long way. A few years ago, we took our Bell students to the Oregon Museum of Science and Industry. Now, it's a children's museum, mostly hands-on, which is good, but there were no sighted people in our crowd. We had our 5 students and we had 3 blind adults. And we came in, I was expecting to have trouble. That could be a great lesson for the kids. But we went all the way through that museum and nobody put a hand on us, nobody guided us, they weren't hovering except for one individual. Probably a retired guy volunteering in his 70s or 80s. And we're in a little group and he came up and grabbed my arm. And I said, please don't touch me. Well, you say that to a man when you're a woman, they can't get their hands off of you fast enough. I was polite, and then he backed away, and that was the only issue we had. What's changed? I'm NFB, I'll get there. The other thing, we talk about travel, people anticipating where you think you need to be, right? So we're in Orlando one year. I run NFB camp. It was actually at Shingle Creek. And the NFB camp rooms, once you get down that hallway, were to the left and up a few stairs, and the general sessions were to the right and down an escalator. And you know, we got these helpful UPS people, which were the worst this particular year of any year I remember. So I have to be at NFB camp 30 minutes before sessions begin to check people in, and 30 minutes after. So I'm going to NFB camp probably about, 40 minutes before sessions begin. But everybody else is going to sessions. So I got one of these helpful volunteers telling me I'm going the wrong way. I tried to ignore her. This is like the last day of convention, so I've been doing this for 6 days now. She just keeps going. And at one point she's shouting at me that I'm going the wrong way. It's the end of the week. You know how you feel at the end of the week? I turned around and I swear to you, I shouted back at her and I said, I'm not going to the convention. And she backed off and left me alone. Imagine that, crazy blind woman. I think the difference is the National Federation of the Blind. And I think a big chunk of it is training centers. Look how we have raised our own people to learn what they need to learn to be independent in the world so we don't look so helpful anymore. Now, I say maybe it's the younger generation that recognizes, and I had somebody say, well, I think the younger generation just doesn't give a crap. So, right, but I think it's the level of confidence, for the most part, that tells people, I'm okay. You don't need to mess with me. And if I do need help, I'm gonna let you know. And I think that is what the National Federation of the Blind has done over the past, 84 years now. I think we have made a difference. Slow, yes. Do we have farther to go? Yes. But I do believe that it is what the work we have done. And I am filled with love, hope, and energy for participating in the National Federation of the Blind, because my contributions make a difference to me and to others. And I can celebrate my successes with my Federation family. Instead of using the word travel, maybe we should switch to wandering. Roman Paine, again, in his book, The Wanderess, said, wandering is the act of a child. It is the passion of a genius. It is the discovery of the soul. My Federation family, let the flame of our passions reflect on our raised expectations as we wander together to let the child and the genius that resides within us move ever closer to the discovery of our souls and the realization of our dreams.
Wow, wasn't that cool? Give her another round of applause.
Barbara, does
All right.
this mean I have to change my title to Wonder Instructor?
Yeah. That's not my responsibility. All right, let's go with the door prize. This one's going to Cheryl Livingston. All righty, keep going, keep talking. That's a 20 good numbers for you, my dear. Bob Burns, would you come up, please? This is another favorite part of the banquet for me. One of the things that we do to help one another, is to help students. And one of the things we do to do that is to award scholarships. Any of us who have been around a long time know that it wasn't always really possible for people to go into certain professions or to do certain things as blind people without a whole lot of hassle. And I know that there still are things we definitely need to work on when it comes to how we do things in the realm of education and in other realms, but we really are making progress. And one way we know we are is how people become educated. Bob?
Yes,
I'll get off the mic long enough so you can hear the direct.
oh, yeah, it's going along,
To your left.
Okay, yeah, the speaker is.
No. There's stairs.
Meet on the other.
Stairs are, that's what.
Okay, anyway, we really do appreciate the efforts of students to help us change what it means to be blind as we go along. And, we have a couple of them to honor this evening. And so now I give you the chairman of the scholarship committee, Bob Burns from Omaha.
Dominic and Ben, you want to come up? Well, this year we had two very excellent applicants. Ben Grelk and Dominic Van Lanningham. And so it was hard to decide, but basically we came to the consensus that we have two scholarships to give. One is for $1,500 from the state affiliate, and one is $500 or $1,000, a combination of the Omaha chapter, Lincoln chapter, and a large chapter. And anyway, we decided to give the $1,000 scholarship to Dominic Van Lanningham. So anyway, congratulations, buddy. And it was safe.
Hey, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. This is amazing. Thank you so much. Yeah, I kind of talked a little more last night than just introduction, so I kind of said a little bit about my story and stuff already. But yeah, just try to keep it short and sweet. Like I do really appreciate the National Federation of Blind so immensely. I hope that I can give back what I've received from the federation sooner than later. And yeah, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
So Ben is going to go to the University of Nebraska next year. He's a senior at Petty Vista High School. I think he tells me what, there's 20 days of school left. Yeah, so who's counting? But anyway, congratulations, Ben.
I'll keep it shorter and sweeter to so. Yeah, I really have put a lot of work into where I am now, and I'm proud of what I am, and I'm looking forward to what I can become. So thank you. Computer science.
I want to thank the scholarship committee, Linda Benting, Shane Burrish, and Sean and Kimberly Sherburne, and then Raj Marsh has some other things going on right now. She just had a baby, so she wasn't able to come to convention. She maybe had the scholarship winner for well, I guess we won't presume that he has any visual issues. So anyway, he'll get other scholarships in the class of 43. Wow. So anyway, thank you, scholarship winners and scholarship committee, and that's all for the scholarship award for the banquet of 2024.
Thank you very much, Bob, and thank you, Dominic and Ben. We really appreciate you, and we look forward to all you are going to do to help keep moving us forward. Speaking of Rachna Marsh, she and David got married last year, and one of the interesting experiences that gave to some of us was to attend an Indian wedding. And I knew that she wasn't going to be here this evening because of the birth of the baby, but the dress I'm wearing is one I got for their wedding, and I always think of them when I wear it, including tonight. And we miss you, Rashna, and hope that you and David will be here with the little one next year at convention. You know, as we talk about how things go in the world, you know, we talk about youth and we talk about students and things like that. And then people start talking about things that have been around a while. And this year at this convention, there are two entities that we are very familiar with and like having something to do with, who are turning 50. Now, to some of you, that probably seems really old. To me, it doesn't anymore. But if I add them together to 100, that still does seem like kind of a long time. But I'm right in between there. But anyway, those two entities are the Nebraska Center for the Blind. It's 50 this year. A lot of you weren't born yet then. I worked there. So you know that I'm at least somewhat older than 50. Actually, I'm 73. But also Radio Talking Book Service turns 50 this year as well. So we're really happy to recognize those milestones. It takes a lot of work and a lot of people to get an entity to be that age and to be appreciated over the years. So, and the National Federation of the Blind had a lot to do with both of the births of those entities and with their progress as they've moved along over the years. So all of you ought to be proud of that, you know, this organization has made its impact on those entities and those services. So give them and yourselves a hand. Now, as you know, none of these things happens without a lot of hard work, but also it takes money to do these things. And by the way, I was curious to know, Carla, was the wife of that Benjamin Dover?
Eileen?
Yes. I just had to ask. Okay, sure, we'll have a door prize.
Well, yes, and the best is yet to come. I don't know if you've noticed, but our prizes are getting a little bigger. This one is for $50 and it goes to Ken Blackman. The last one we have for tonight to be after the auction. And it's a big one.
So who was the winner? Ken Blackman. Congratulations. I didn't either, so I wasn't even altogether sure if anybody had been announced. Well, I mean, I heard it announced, but like, oh, okay. All right. Okay, so now, as we do things in the National Federation of the Blind, as you know, we change with changing times. And wow, some of the changes are really fascinating to someone who's been around as long as I have. But some of you are undoubtedly familiar with our pre-authorized contribution plan. Is there anyone who needs to have that explained? You're kidding.
You mean the PAC plan?
Yeah,
We've got new people.
I know, that's why I asked the question, but I didn't hear anybody who wasn't familiar with it. So either everybody's been educated or people are shy to ask. Anyway, in any case, what it is a way for anyone who wants to, and it can be members of the organization, it can be anybody. You can ask your employer, you can ask your friends, you can ask your family, but it is one of the main ways that we raise money to be used for all kinds of things, scholarships. We just are awarding scholarships now here, but we also have 30 national scholarships that we award every year at the national convention. We have our Braille enrichment for literacy and learning programs for blind children. We have a lot of work in Washington, DC and elsewhere on legislation, and that is everywhere going on. We're working with educators, our Teachers of Tomorrow program. We have our free white cane program, our free slate and stylus program. We work a lot with brailing of one thing or another, with tactiles, with all kinds of stuff. I could go on and on about the kinds of things that we use that money for. Carla talked about it some yesterday. One thing that we do in our affiliate is every year at our banquet, we ask people to give their attention to this program and to either increase your PAC pledge if you already have been on the PAC plan, or to start a new one. You can enter the plan for $5 a month. And the reason that it's that high, which some of people may think it is high, I don't know, but is because if anything lower than that, it doesn't pay for itself. So we do ask for a minimum donation of $5 a month. There is no maximum amount, so whatever you can afford to do, we're happy to accept it. Now, we also enter into kind of friendly competition with our fellow affiliates, because that's a fun thing to do, and sometimes that's a motivator for us to think about, okay, let's get ahead of such and such a state. So we in Nebraska are proud to try to stay in the top 10. Now, this last month, we moved back to position 11. And that is a bummer, in my opinion. Now, I know we aren't a very populated state or anything like that, but we are committed to our federation, and we tend to put our money where our mouth is and that sort of thing. So now what we do here is if somebody wants to increase your amount or to get on the PAC plan, if you're okay with doing that, you can sing out and we'll write it down. And this year, for the first time, people can go to where the PAC form is with a QR code. This is a new thing, and there are papers with the QR code on them on most of the tables out there. So if you have a smartphone can you do it with a computer? I don't know. I know I did it with my iPhone at home. If it has a camera, it will do it, Lucas said, and I believe him. I had no idea, but anyway, my iPhone worked to do it. So anyway, that is one way to get on. You can also go there on your computer. You can also call in to make a donation. And there are also old-fashioned forms, I guess we could call them, where you can fill in the information with a pen or pencil or whatever, and we can send them in. So we do try to make it as friendly to everybody's way of doing things as possible. So, we also, I don't think we can do the credit card thing here at this convention. So we're not going to offer that option, but, anyway, and what you need to do, figure out is how much you want to contribute each month, and it will automatically come out of whatever bank account you assign it to on whatever day of the month you want it to and tell it to. And then it will start doing that every month. Now, if you get into a jam and you aren't able to continue with it, you can cancel. We always hope people won't, but we also understand that the circumstances are what they are. So don't feel like you are getting yourself into some kind of a thing that you can't get out of. Like a lot of these things, do it for a little bit, and then if you want out, well, too bad. This is like the Hotel California or something. It's easy to do. We really want you to want to do it. And we want you to do it. So, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask me. One of the things I appreciate is to know what you're wanting to contribute, and if you're going to do it yourself, then I want your contact information so I can follow up with you if some kind of snafu happens. Because sometimes what happens is somebody will go to it, say, I'll get on there afterward. And if I don't have your contact information, then, it's really hard to follow up with you. So please, let me know. And if you want to do it, but you don't want to say that right now here at the banquet, but you want to do it before the convention is out, you can see me later, or there are other people who can help you out to get it done. But just make sure I know so that we can keep track of what we said we would do, and then I can follow up with you if you need a nudge. So
Barbara,
yes.
what is the monthly giving rate right now for Nebraska, and what's number 10? Who's number 10?
And I don't have.
Oh, I'm sorry, but you had it in front of you.
I have it in here.
Well, we can sing this.
Well, that's okay, we can, do you want me to? So you can tie out.
So, can I get anybody from the floor who wants to start a new path? Never been on, wants to sign up? Shout your name out. Oh, come on.
Okay, I'm going to do it. Karen Morris.
And who is it? I'm sorry? Karen?
Yeah.
Morris.
Okay, Karen Moritz. And how much? 25? Nice. All right, 25 a month. Awesome. Okay, anybody else?
So,
The QR codes are in the brown bag, by the way.
Oh, they're in the bag. Oh.
Hang on, I think.
Okay. Okay. So Karen Marks was
25.
and who else did we have?
Has anybody else said anything? I'm sorry, I got off the mic. Yes, and who's I? Monty? And how much? 10, awesome. Okay, we're at $35. All right, anybody else? Yes, Chuck. 10, is this a new one or an increase? New cat. All right, awesome. Chuck, I'm sorry, what's your last name again?
Marska.
Mark.
MARCKA.
Okay, $10. All right, anybody else? You can increase, you can start a new one. So far, we're $45 up from where we were to begin with, and
So, Robert, yeah, so this is gonna sound big, but it really isn't. I'll double what I presently contributed. But I don't remember what it is.
okay. Okay, so Robert's gonna double whatever it is that he created.
No, it's kidding, it's not up.
Awesome, thanks, Robert.
Okay, we gotta find out, you gotta help me find out what it is.
Yeah, we can do that, we can find out what it is. Anybody else?
Oh, increase $10.
Increase $10. Say again, was that Cheryl?
Carol is instant.
All right, awesome, thank you. Feedback. Is that
And you're writing these down, right?
Yes, I am.
I have to, we always.
good? Double check. All right, anybody else? So- Say your name.
Lisa.
Lisa. Okay,
Lisa, what's it up?
Grace. Grace, G-R-I-E-S-S.
GRIESS, and
We are new.
yes, you joined the student division.
Yes. That's our new.
Yes, that's right, that's right.
Can we do 30?
Yes. 30 a month, yes. That is awesome, look, the treasurer, but you can't take it out of the students. Okay, cool, anybody else?
Nancy Kaufman.
Yes, Nancy?
Always by one.
You're gonna raise by $1, that's okay, you know what, if you did that every year, just think what it would go to after 10 years, it would be $10 more. Anybody else? Kimberly? And raising by $5, Kimberly, thank you. Thank you, come on, there's so many things. There's so many things the organization does at no charge to us, and that's not to mention how much better our lives are now than they were 20 years ago.
And,
Yes,
$2.
$2, you're increasing? Awesome, increase. Anybody else? Going once, we don't wanna make you sit here all night doing the bids, cause we got other stuff to do, right? We got games, yes, I'm sorry. Carlos, increase by 10. Thank you, my friend. Lucas and I would increase ours, but that's not gonna help you guys.
You can take on new.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, I think my membership would rebel against that. Defecting to Nebraska.
I will find them by tomorrow morning when we make the thing, and hopefully.
Oh, yeah.
Robert will, figure out what he's doubling, so that we have an actual amount.
Yeah, but really helpful, because right now we really don't.
That's why I'm.
Awesome. Anybody else? Going once. Going twice. See, we're working up to the option. All right, so thank you so much for those of you who contributed.
Hey, can we do this door prize? My boss has changed my mind.
Just a second, we're not quite done, guys. So you have how many door prizes yet? Okay, we have one more. We will do at the end, right before we adjourn. And tomorrow morning, if you are because you are really wanting to know how far we went up and that sort of thing, and who we may have beaten out or whatever. We will have that information by tomorrow, and so Robert, if you have a way of finding out what you're doubling, that'd be really good. I think that's the first time we've ever had anybody do that, and so it's kind of cool. Every year something different happens, we have a different wrinkle. Before we adjourn, I want to introduce our chair of convention arrangements for some things I'm sure you want to pay attention to, because it will have to do with tomorrow. So here you go, Chris.
Thank you. What an awesome banquet this has been. Carla, that was a wonderful speech. Very enjoyable and, yeah. Wonderful. All right, now, listen all y'all, tomorrow, the bus, she'd be gonna roll out of this place at noon. And so if you want to go home, you better be ready and on her by noon, or you'll look very sad standing out in front of the monument or the, what the heck's our cobblestone. You have a mental block about that thing. And, yeah, your thumbs out. Yeah.
Mountain time, right?
Noon mountain time, that's exactly right. And if you leave at noon, the people who live in. No, it's not. Yeah. 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 Okay, so if you leave here at noon, the people who are going all the way to Omaha will get off the bus at almost 10 o'clock tomorrow night. Central time. Yes, but still, that's like, hey, don't let anybody leave, because this part is really important. You must check out of your hotel before coming to the session tomorrow. The hotels are not, well, more important, they're not excited about giving anyone late checkout, but more important than that, is the fact that our plan depends upon everyone checking out in the morning before you come over here. And I believe the hotels have told me that they will have the bills all run up, and so basically you could just walk by and they'll hand you your bill. And it'll be on your card unless you want to, you know, pay it a different way. But for the most part, it won't take very long. They will also have a place to store your bag. It's going to be a safe, secure, locked room in which to store your bag. So the bus will come to the hotel during the morning while we're in session and pick up all the luggage. And then the bus will pick all of you guys up here at the Civic Center. I finally got it, you guys. Didn't say hotel for once. Anyway, so we will, I believe, Madam President, you want to adjourn by 11:30 or before?
That would be
11. All right. So you are ambitious, which is awesome. And we start at 9. Better than I thought. Okay, so we will adjourn at 11. You will be able to file by and pick up your box lunch if you ordered one. If you didn't order one, they won't give you one, I'm sorry to say. And then you will have a little while to sit by and, you know, do whatever any last minute things you want to do. And if the buses can get out of here early, they will, or it will. And, you know, if that way, the Lincoln people could be home before 8:45, the Omaha people before 10. So that is, anybody have any questions at all? All right, this is super important. Check out, come here, leave your luggage there. have convention, get your lunch, get on the bus. All right, thanks you guys.
Hello, I'm back. I just wanted to say that Cody, Mr. Bartender, donated his winnings back to the affiliate. So thank you, Cody. Tonight because he's still got to pay for that little baby girl. So, make sure you give him some good tips tonight. So thank you, Cody.
Okay, when President Ritchie asked me if I thought we could do the banquet within the 2-hour slot so that we could get the auction started right away, I said, I hope so. It looks like we're doing it, so. So thank you all for your attention and thank you for coming, and please stay for the auction trivia thing. And we will have now our final door prize of the evening, which is what?
It is, and this I'm gonna explain to you, you get a free ride to and back from the Black Hills of South Dakota in January of 2025, and Route 2 Deadwood is where we'll be going. You will, have a hotel room paid for. And this comes from, an outfit that Kathy and I worked pretty hard for. It's for the Ski for Life event in January. So this is your pass to get on the bus and ride with us, stay in Chadron, go to Deadwood, go skiing, and then come home with us if you choose. There's times when I'd rather stay there, but Karen, and there's something I need to have from you guys, or give it to Ward, Kathy, and that is your name, to make sure we have your mailing address, your phone number, your email, all that good stuff.
Karen?
Yes.
Before you give that away, we have heard that there is one of these on the auction.
No,
No.
that's even bigger,
Oh, I
because
see.
the bus has donated not just the travel, but the Ski for Life volunteers who put this on have donated the week. And that includes your, well, what I said about the bus, and then your hotel, your ski lift tickets, all your equipment, all your food, it's all done, guys.
Okay, so let's go. We're not gonna make our time commitment.
Brandenburg.
Are you here, Aaron? All right, thank you very much. The banquet is adjourned.